Tonight on an all-new 2020.
The saga of Mike and Dahlia DiPolito was so outrageous, so unbelievable.
Their relationship was like a powder keg. Those two had such sexual attraction.
The reality show Cops is there waiting to capture every second.
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey, Boynton Beach Police Department. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, man.
Can you imagine you come home from a simple morning at the gym and you find out that your husband's been murdered?
I can't let you in, man.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
Did you ever love Mike DiPolito?
Yes. I married him because I loved him.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not. I'm in intensive therapy now, just trying to cope with everything that's happened because it's hard.
How do you explain then what we saw and what we heard on those videotapes?
Sure you want to kill him, dude?
And that's when Dahlia DiPolito says the phrase that goes around the world.
I'm positive, 5,000% sure,
Okay.
With evidence like that, what seems like evidence, how did she end up going to trial not once, not twice,
Dahlia DiPolito walking out of 3 women
but 3 times? It is reality TV on steroids. It's a cloudy morning in sleepy Boynton Beach, Florida. It's just before 6 a.m. It's already a humid 80 degrees, and most people are still asleep, but not 26-year-old newlywed Dahlia DiPolito.
On August 5th, 2009, Dahlia and Mike DiPolito had just passed their 6-month wedding anniversary. He's in bed in the morning, and Dahlia gets up and goes to the gym at 6 a.m.
The LA Fitness in Boynton Beach.
He's groggy, it's early morning, he's still in bed.
She tells Mike on the way out, I'm going to the gym, maybe I'll bring you Starbucks on the way home.
In the middle of her workout, Dahlia receives a phone call from the Boynton Beach police.
Sorry, I just missed your call. Please leave a brief message, and I will return your call as soon as I can.
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey, Boynton Beach Police Department, Detective Division. I need you to call me as soon as you can, ma'am.
A few seconds after missing the call, she calls the number, and it's the Boynton Beach police asking her to come home.
Okay, can you come right back to your residence, please?
Yeah, I'm leaving right now. Is it ready?
Ma'am, I'll tell you everything you need to know when you get here.
There were cameras everywhere, including from the hit TV show Cops.
She goes rushing up, looking very confused. You see her in her black leggings, her tight spaghetti strap tank top.
Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired.
Once she arrived, that's when she was told that her husband was killed.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
And that's when she falls into his arms, wailing. She is screaming. She's saying, no, 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 no.
No.
Try to calm down.
No.
Listen, right now we need to get you.
From the perspective of neighbors, they see this nice young couple, and next thing they know, something horrible has happened there. And they're all wondering, who would want to kill Mike DiPolito? Is it random? Is it somebody that could have come into my house?
My name is Jillian Jalali, and I have a podcast called Court Junkie. This case has it all as far as true crime is concerned.
Mike and Dahlia seemed to be a perfect match. It was truly a fairy tale.
Dahlia's father was Egyptian and her mother was Peruvian.
She was born Dahlia Muhammad.
Dahlia comes from a religious family, very close-knit family.
And when she was 13 years old, her family moved to Boynton Beach, Florida, where she essentially grew up.
Boynton Beach is located in Palm Beach County. Well, that's a pretty glitzy county in Florida.
When people think of Palm Beach County, they often think of Mar-a-Lago, where President Trump lives. He has that resort there. Boynton Beach, 15 miles away, is a typical American suburb.
It's sort of a middle class, more of a blue-collar community.
Dahlia lived in a gated community. She lived there with her mother. Some describe her as beautiful. She's certainly attractive, especially when she's got her hair and makeup done.
I first met Dahlia DiPolito back in 2015.
Has your story been told yet, truthfully?
No, it hasn't.
How would you describe your personality?
Really bubbly, very friendly, really social.
What types of values were you raised with? What was important in your family?
We were constantly doing family activities, family vacations, and a lot of family dinners. We had big Sunday dinners.
What were your hopes for her?
To grow up, be married, be happy, and have kids.
Dahlia grows up and she becomes supposedly a real estate agent.
But the problem is that actually takes a lot of really hard work, and she's much more into the quick buck.
I think she was a woman who early on decided there were certain things in life she wanted, and she was going to use her sexuality to get them.
Money. She wants money.
Some people might call Dahlia a gold digger, and if she could see maybe a fast buck in someone, she was going to go for it.
Enter Mike DiPolito. He says that when he met Dahlia, she was working as a paid escort.
He meets her on a website called eros.com. He was ordering an escort to keep him company over the weekend. He ordered her like a pizza.
Mike DiPolito is an interesting guy. Just like Dahlia, he wants a lavish lifestyle. He yearns for the finer things in life.
Michael DiPolito was a muscular guy. He worked out, and he liked the high life, too.
What was your initial impression of Mike DiPolito?
Charming.
What drew you to him?
His personality. He was really engaging, and it felt a really strong connection.
So, Mike DiPolito is a very likable guy. He's not afraid to be vulnerable.
And he just seemed sort of like a guy you'd see at the gym, maybe not too bright, but working hard and trying to have a fun life.
Mike describes his first meeting with Dahlia, that she was sweet, almost naive.
Give me some insight into what it was like when you first met.
We got into outdoor activities and stuff, and we got bikes, and we started biking together.
What do you think Michael saw in you?
My personality, who I was, my sense of humor. We talked about all kinds of things. We watched the news together. We were big movie people. We both love Starbucks, coffee drinkers.
Mike had a very difficult upbringing, and I think he really yearned to feel loved and to feel safe and taken care of. He had this void that needed to be filled, and she made him feel like he had never felt before. But the problem that Mike had was that he was married at the time.
They start an affair, a hot and heavy and steamy affair.
He said the sex was unbelievable.
Did you have any scruples about getting involved with a man who was still married?
No, I was told that he was going through the divorce proceedings, and he had actually sent me papers showing that he was going through the divorce process.
Not only did Mike DiPolito have a wife, he also had a checkered past.
Well, long before he met Dahlia, he'd gone to prison for running a boiler room stock operation.
He was conning old people over the phone.
They would call people up and they would sell them these penny stocks, convince them that these were going to become stocks that were going to be worth a lot of money, but in actually were just scams.
Basically like the movie The Boiler Room.
Listen, I'm presenting you with an investment opportunity that I think you're going to find very interesting.
Where he's cold calling people and trying to get them to invest in foreign currency.
He was ripping people off.
Along the way, he was definitely making enemies.
Mike pled guilty to organized scheme to defraud, unlicensed telemarketing, and grand theft. And he served a total of 2 years in Florida State Prison, followed by 28 years probation.
They're in love. They are determined to leave their past behind. So this ex-con and his former escort are in this whirlwind romance, and 6 months later, they're married.
The way that it happened, it was just so impulsive, and it felt right.
You went down to the county courthouse?
The courthouse the same day, applied for the license. It took a couple of days to, for it to legally be official and everything.
This was a shock to Dahlia's mother, Rhonda Muhammad.
And she showed me her ring. I was like, wow, we got engaged? And she says, no, we got married.
And you thought what?
I wasn't happy at all, but it was time.
If you look at the pictures of them, she has this beautiful smile. He's grinning. They're embracing each other. It looks like true love.
From an outsider looking in, they're the happiest couple.
And that brings us back to that hot August morning in 2009. Mike DiPolito is dead. He's apparently been murdered in his house. And the big question is, why? Who would want to do this?
Police can't help but wonder if this grieving widow is actually keeping a deadly secret.
Are you sure that you don't know anybody who want to kill your husband?
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey. Ma'am, I need to talk to you. It's very urgent when you come home. It involves your husband. There's been an incident.
Can you imagine you've got your whole life ahead of you and you're in love and you're planning everything, and then you come home from a simple morning at the gym and you find out that your husband's been murdered?
I don't wish this on anybody. It's just beyond, words. It's so hard to be able to just fully express.
Your husband, Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
The condo is surrounded by police cars. The street was mobbed with detectives, crime scene technicians.
I can't let you in, man. We have to do our job. You have to find his killer, okay?
She says, I want to see my husband. And the police say, no, you can't.
If you want to help your husband, you need to go to the station with these gentlemen and tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to.
They put her in the police car, and now she's being whisked away to the police station. So they take her to the interrogation room. She's sitting in there.
And I'll explain to you what we're going to do, okay?
They turn the camera on once Dahlia steps into the room to watch her demeanor and to see how she was behaving.
I don't want to be videotaped.
Well, you're being videotaped. That's all part of it.
And still expressing grief and sorrow and disbelief.
I love my husband. We don't love you too.
No, you don't want to see him.
The police are treating her like a grieving widow. They're doing their investigation into who would want to kill her husband.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
My husband's on probation.
For what?
He's for stock fraud.
Stock fraud?
And in fact, she tries to steer the investigation to the victims that Mike had previously scammed money from.
Did you spend any time in prison? How much?
2 years in prison and 5 years on probation, going on to 6 years.
Oh my God. And what was that for?
It was for taking money. It was like, he explained it like boiler room kind of, where they would take money from people.
She tells them that he had been in prison before for fraud, that he was on probation, and that he still owed restitution, almost $200,000 to several victims.
He's been trying to get off probation, and it's just been nothing but problems the whole time that he's been trying to get off. People weren't happy that he was getting off probation because it's a lot of money he's got to pay back.
She tells them that Mike was just about to get off on probation early, and the people that he had scammed money from were very angry and upset about this.
Well, when you say people, who are you talking about? People that were involved with him before, or?
A little bit of everything. He's constantly running into a lot of the guys that he was on probation with. It was a lot of money. It was $191,000 that he had to pay back.
He's got all these sketchy characters from his past. Yeah, they're the ones.
I guess somehow when he went away, some guys didn't go away. They left the country.
You mean went away, he went to prison?
Right.
Okay.
They left the country. And so somehow he was dealing with some of those guys because they thought that he owed them, and I don't know.
She gave very vague details about, maybe people that could have been angry with him. She didn't provide law enforcement with much information at all.
Well, I'm asking, if you know any names, then we can run these guys down and see what they know.
I don't know if the one guy that I'm telling you about, Pasquale, if he also went away or if he didn't.
She starts to kind of give names and tell them that there are possibilities of people that maybe had wanted to see Mike dead.
Is it Pasquale or Pasquale?
Pasquale.
Then Dahlia starts spilling some of Mike's other secrets, like his substance abuse issues.
He's recovering alcoholic.
Dahlia tells detectives that her husband Mike struggled with demons, alcohol and drugs.
And so with him, it's very important to be like on a schedule and, you know what I mean, like have a system and very organized with everything.
Get up every day, go to the gym, go to Starbucks. He would go to AA meetings. He felt was so important to keep regimented. He did that to make sure that he stayed sober.
And in fact, Mike would have otherwise been at the gym with Dahlia, except he was recovering from liposuction surgery.
We were supposed to go to the gym.
Oh, both of you were supposed to go?
He had like 2 blood handles removed from here.
And so he was laid up. He couldn't exercise, he couldn't go to the gym.
We haven't gone since his surgery, but every morning, 5 a.m., we're both at the gym.
You're lucky.
What?
You're lucky you went to the gym. I don't know if you know, he was shot. He was shot twice. And I want you to know all this.
Do you know this?
Not exactly. I mean, they told me he was shot.
He was found in the bedroom. He was shot twice in the head.
She brought up every negative detail of his life in those moments after she learned that he had been killed.
Well, you know, he's very, he used to be a drug addict. And
what was his drug of choice?
Crack.
Crack? I'm going to be back. What I want to do is call right now. I'm going to go out and get in touch with the officers at the scene. I want to see if the house was burglarized.
Okay.
All right, just hang on for a second.
Thank you.
So when the police exit and Dahlia was still being videotaped, as they leave the room, she starts crying.
A few moments later, the detective comes back in and he has one more question.
There's no problems between you guys, no financial problems, with your family, you and him.
No, there's nothing.
In that police interview, Dahlia paints a rather rosy picture of their relationship. No problems, no drama.
But what everyone would soon learn is there actually was trouble in paradise.
Everything seems great. At least that's what Michael thought.
What he didn't know is that Dahlia DiPolito had another man in her life.
As Dahlia DiPolito sits in that interrogation room, there is still a lot that investigators don't know about her.
She uses men to give her money or to get into their lives so then she could then extract their money from them.
She knew how to use her sex appeal, and she had a lot of it, to get her way. And that's what she did very successfully with men, including Mike DiPolito.
She wanted Mike's house. She wanted all of his money.
She decided, hey, I got to figure out a way to get his stuff. She had several men wrapped around her fingers.
One of those men was a Florida businessman, Mohammed Shihada.
He was a 32-year-old Jordanian national. He was a quasi-actor.
In fact, if you go to the site for Mohammed's talent agency, his online portfolio is still there.
He really enjoyed playing poker and gambling in Las Vegas.
How did you know Mohammed?
I met him a long time ago. He had a convenience store business, and I had actually walked into his store. And that's where we struck up conversation, and we both had Middle Eastern background, and so we just ended up developing a friendship.
And you stayed in touch for how many years?
Throughout the course of maybe like 15 years.
So you considered him a close personal friend?
Considered him a friend. I wouldn't say close.
They began a flirtation, which was very heavily sexually charged. When she needed something, they would rekindle that old flame, so to speak. If she needed to vent about a guy she was dating or a relationship that she was in, she would talk to him. So in July of 2009, after Dahlia was married to Mike, she reached out to Mohammed once again, as she had done over time. She starts a narrative with him about Michael DiPolito.
Dahlia told Mohammed that she was physically abused, that he was controlling, and she just needed out of the marriage.
Were there any stresses on the marriage?
We got into little arguments and things, but it wasn't anything major.
But Dahlia tells Mohammed that her husband is abusive, emotionally abusive, so much so that a regular divorce isn't going to cut it. So she wants Mike out of her life for good and turns to Mohammed for help.
She wants for a more permanent solution to her problems.
Dahlia confides in Mohammed that she wants Mike DiPolito killed. They meet at a gas station in Boynton Beach. Dahlia tells Mohammed that she's desperate, that she needs to have Mike killed.
It's a common thread throughout these types of cases. Beautiful women, and they also often involve allegations of abuse.
Mohammed is really nervous that if Mike DiPolito is killed, that law enforcement would come back to him. And he didn't want that to happen. And he didn't want Mike to be killed.
Mohammed Shahadi is actually the person that called police and said that Dahlia DiPolito was planning to murder her husband.
We had a gentleman come into the police department advising they had some information in reference to a young lady that wanted her husband killed.
They captured this first conversation that they had with Mohammed on a tape recorder.
Okay, tell us what happened.
She asked if I knew someone who can kill her husband for her. I said, basically, no, I don't. She tells me, though, he's the nicest, sweetest nerd, but you can't stand him.
So at first we weren't sure what we had.
Do you know where she lives?
No.
At the time, we didn't know what to believe.
Her last name, I don't know.
Here's a gentleman who walks in. According to him, he's had a sexual relationship with this young lady, but he wasn't sure exactly where she lived or her last name.
Describe her.
She's maybe 5'6", 5'7", dark black hair, green eyes. She's a good-looking girl. Really good-looking girl, actually.
The fact that somebody was going to get killed, it was bothering his conscience.
Did she ask you to find someone for her?
Yes.
So after that first interview, law enforcement realizes that they're going to need to talk to Mohammed again.
What cops want Mohammed to do next is bold and risky. They want to set up a sting.
They say, we want you to put a wire on, and we want you to get her to outline this plan to kill her husband.
So Mohammed morphs into a confidential informant.
We have the informant contact the suspect by phone and set up a meeting so we can ID her. The mobile gas station was one of those places where they've met before in the past, so we decided to make that the location.
All right, you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, good.
So police outfit Mohammed's car with some cameras, and they put a wire on him.
Hey, what's up?
And a few seconds later, she begins talking about getting her husband killed.
There's no small talk. Mohammed and Dahlia launch right into a secretly recorded conversation detailing Dahlia's murderous intentions.
At first, it seems like her motive might be Mike's money.
Honestly, you work seriously gonna kill me over that much money?
It's not even over like it's not even about money.
Dahlia has no idea that every word coming out of her mouth is being caught on camera.
Okay, well, all I'm trying to say is, this guy's a professional. It's not all he does is get it done, that's it.
Right.
This is where he actually says he was going to introduce her to a hitman.
I know him, you know, like, he's good at it.
We realized that this guy was credible.
But now, how am I supposed to know what day he's going to do it?
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
He might tell you, oh, like, to get out of town or something for a day.
I'm not going out of town.
You even hear during the conversation Her talk about no one would ever believe that she could be capable of murder.
His mom is not going to get suspicious of you or anything like
Why
that?
me? No one
You
knowing
say
somebody,
that-
nobody's gonna be able to point a finger at me.
She ended up bringing $1,200 in cash. She believed that that money was going to be given to the hitman to buy a gun.
Yeah,
All right, I'll try.
She also bought 2 pictures.
I have a picture of him right now. You're sure everything else is okay?
Yeah.
You're sure?
Yo, what more sure can you want? You're planning a murder. Come on, stop, yo.
She's made a down payment on death.
And now Dalia DiPolito is about to come face to face with the assassin.
But little does she know, she's walking into a trap.
After Mohammed Shihada alerts Boynton Beach police about Dalia DiPolito's deadly plan, Dalia meets face to face with that hitman.
What she doesn't know is this hitman she's about to meet is actually Witty Jean, Boynton Beach police officer who is working undercover on this case.
They agreed on a location, which was a CVS parking lot in the city of Boynton Beach.
Pretty much parking this exact spot right here. We had 2 cameras in the car. The cameras were positioned in the back seat. You can't help being a bit nervous as you're doing this.
Remember, there's 1,000 things that can go wrong.
She parked and got into the car and she said, hey.
Dalia shows up to the meeting with Witty, and she's wearing a cute little sundress. She's almost flirtatious with him in the car.
We wanted to make sure that she caught my attention in my eyes. The way she was dressed, pretty much, I'm like, okay, she wants to show off her body. So, I have to give her a compliment. I told her, hey, you look good. Hey, you look good.
She clearly thought she was talking to a hitman, and to her, this was something that had to be done.
How sick can you get everything going?
Well, that's up to you.
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
She gave me definitely a sense of urgency. You cannot wait to make it happen. If you're going to make it happen, you have to make it happen this week. I'll give you a quick breakdown of what I've done so far. We talked about money, how much money she's going to pay me. At one point she said, well, I thought that I already gave you the $1,200. $1,200 went to buy my gun, okay, a couple hundred, for other people to do things. Right. You know what I mean? When I had to explain to her, $100 is nothing. I had to buy a gun, I had to buy a phone, I had to buy this car.
As she starts talking, what's going on in the minds of the police officers is, wow, this woman is real. This plot is real.
As a matter of fact, I've already spent more money, just to get it here.
Right.
Trying to tell her, look, however, which way you want it done, I'll do it. So I just want to make sure that, this is what you want. Sure you want to kill this dude.
When she's meeting with the hitman, he's telling her, look, there is no turning back. When I leave you today, you have no way to reach me.
I explained to Dalia that after today, she wouldn't be able to find me to cancel this whole plan that we put together. When it's done, you have to have an option to change your mind.
And that's when Dalia DiPolito says the phrase that goes around the world.
I'm positive, 5,000% sure.
Okay.
No, there's no, I'm determined already. I'm positive, 5,000% sure.
Her line is classic. I am 5,000% sure, right? So it's, she is so committed to this.
5,000% sure.
I didn't think she was going to be that open. I'm 5,000% sure. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
A lot tougher than what I look. I know you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. But I'm not.
She told me she may look like an innocent little girl, but she's a whole lot tougher than she looks. The most surprising thing about my meeting with Dalia was how adamant she was in making sure that this was done. All right, well, good morning, By the time you get back from the gym, you're going to find a dead body in the house, all right?
As the Boynton Beach Police Department are preparing for their starring role in this true crime drama, Cops television show are like flies on the wall, recording every bit of it.
Our police officers, our detectives, our professional staff, they every day are doing things in our community to keep people safe and to save lives. And for us, it was a great way to showcase that and to let the community and the larger community know what these heroes are doing every day.
Now, the Boynton Beach police say that show had been interested in their department for several months. And arguably, their cameras had never captured a scene quite like this one. They are about to hit the jackpot.
Everybody knows why we're here. Chachi, you and Bryan will go with me. Frank or somebody will call the wife.
Just like the undercover instructed her to leave the house, she did.
And she grabs a smoothie, and she grabs her purse, and she says, "Bye, Mike," and she goes off to the gym.
Dahlia is at the local LA Fitness, but back at her condo, police are there setting up an elaborate trap.
That looks good. I like it. We've had set up a fake crime scene around the house, yellow tape around the streets, around the house. We make it look like her husband had gotten killed inside the house.
At 6:21 a.m., as Dahlia DiPolito is working out, that's when she misses that call from the sergeant at the Boynton Beach Police Department.
Sergeant Ramsey, can I help you? Is this Miss DiPolito, please?
He intentionally pronounces her name wrong to throw her off.
Once he got her on the phone, told her that something had happened and we needed her to come to the house.
They needed to break some news to her.
No, ma'am, I need to talk to you. Ma'am, I'll tell you everything you need to know when you get here.
As Dahlia approaches, she sees what's really a crime scene. She sees police, tape blocked off.
So the condo is surrounded by police cars. There's a crime scene van, there's crime scene tape, her apartment's roped off with the tape.
The front door to the townhouse is wide open with black fingerprint dust everywhere.
Dahlia arrives from LA Fitness from going to the gym.
And she rushes up. Dahlia DiPolito doesn't know she's being set up right now.
A really buff police sergeant tells her, "Your husband has been murdered."
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Before the words are even out of his mouth, she starts crying.
And he even hugs her, and she figures she's got them wrapped around her finger just like all these other men. And little does she know, her world is about to come crashing down.
I tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Going into his arms.
She's wailing.
As I watch her breakdown as she starts to cry before the word killed is even said, this was the role that she had practiced.
And the play acting continues when they get Dahlia into that interrogation room. Everyone was in character that morning, including the undercover police officer, Woody Jean, who suddenly appears in the interrogation room to make a cameo appearance of his own.
You know who this guy is?
And tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to. Don't worry, we've already taken care of dogs with animal control for right now. Everything's under control.
Dahlia's acting, and the police are acting. As she's brought to the police station, everyone involved is faking it.
They think they have the goods to charge Dahlia DiPolito, but the police still want to see if they can make her crack. They're going to give her every opportunity to own up to what they suspect she did.
You have the right to remain silent and not answer any questions. You understand that?
She absolutely thinks that she has everybody fooled.
He was found in the bedroom. He was shot twice in the head.
He wouldn't open the door unless it's somebody that he knows, because we don't open for anybody.
She believes that she's going to be able to convince law enforcement that she truly loved Mike and that she had nothing to do with his murder.
When the police asked Dahlia if she wanted her husband killed by any chance, she denied it, completely denied it. No.
You wouldn't want to kill him, I hope. Not at all.
We are fine, like there's nothing.
Dahlia DiPolito is pretending she knew nothing about this. and the police are pretending like her husband is actually dead.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not.
Did you want any harm to befall him? Never.
No, never.
Suddenly, the tide begins to turn, and the police get tough with Dahlia.
They've had enough with her charade and with her lies.
Police are thinking that by ushering in that would-be hitman, the man that she paid to murder her husband, surely that will get her to come clean.
Do you know her?
Put your head up and look at her.
Put your head up.
I've never seen her.
What were you doing coming out of her house? Came out here.
Inside, I was kind of laughing because I knew that I spent a good 25 minutes talking to her, and hearing her saying that she's never met me was pretty shocking.
She denies ever meeting him, and she doesn't know who he is.
And then the detective all of a sudden goes from being the grandfatherly figure that he had been into more of a aggressive.
You're going to jail today for solicitation of murder. You're under arrest. That's an undercover police officer. We filmed everything that you did, recorded everything that you did. You're going to jail for solicitation of first-degree murder of your husband.
I didn't do anything.
Did you hear what I just told you?
I heard what you said, but I didn't.
Everything, listen to me. Everything has been recorded. You were photographed in the convertible when you sat in this car in the front of CBS. What do you want to do?
I don't think for a second that she thought that investigators in the interrogation room were going to turn on her.
Listen to me.
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail.
I didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Can you talk about that moment when you realized the tables were turned?
I panicked. I was just completely frozen, and I couldn't move. I couldn't really process and digest everything that was going on.
Shockingly, the Boynton Beach Police Department media director posted the video of the staged crime scene.
The Boynton Beach Police uploaded the video the same day.
This was our way of getting video to our local media. We uploaded the video just as we did dozens of other videos.
We see this stunning video of this takedown, this woman crying and wailing. We've never seen anything like it.
It's always a risky move for the authorities to release any information during an investigation. But Florida is one of the most open states in the country when it comes to sharing information with the public.
In a matter of hours, we were getting phone calls from national and international media.
I need you to take her to the station.
I thought it was going to be a very hot story. There's the jilted husband, there's money, there's video.
If you want to help your husband, okay? If you want to help your husband.
We were stunned. We were delighted.
When law enforcement confronts her with all of the evidence that she wants Mike DiPolito dead, Dahlia denies that.
Listen to me.
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail.
I didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
She's sticking to her script. She's crying.
And with the spotlight on Dahlia, the grand finale is about to unfold.
So finally they say, guess what? He's alive.
He's alive.
Come here, please. Come here. Mike, come here, please. Come here.
3 words to describe Dahlia. Liar, liar, liar.
Give me 3 words to describe yourself. Who is Dahlia DiPolito?
Understanding, sweet, and compassionate.
3 words to describe Dahlia. Liar, liar, liar.
What was that? I didn't do anything, and I didn't plot anything.
It wasn't like, kill him softly, don't hurt him. It was like, just blow the guy's brains out and, can I get a cheese sandwich with that?
I'm positive, 5,000% Charlotte.
I see somebody who's struggling.
What? How is she struggling if she's 5,000% sure?
The whole crime's caught on tape. I mean, what do you do with that?
It was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes.
Yes.
Liar, liar, liar.
He comes up with a defense that rocks the community. This was all for a reality show. She knew she was being taped. She and Mike wanted to be stars.
thing about reality TV is that anybody can do it. Anybody can become famous.
I don't know what reality show a 40-year-old man, 40-year-old convicted felon could be on.
They wanted to post it on YouTube to try to get acting parts. That was the plan.
It was so far out of left field that they might just believe it.
Even now, 11 years after the story first broke, the twists keep coming in the Dalia DiPolito story.
On August 5th, 2009, Dalia DiPolito's life changed forever.
Thank you for coming. I'm sorry to call you.
First, police tell her her husband is dead.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am. He's been killed.
Then she's told she's been caught on tape planning his murder.
You're going to jail.
I didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Tell me you didn't do anything?
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail today.
You kept saying, I didn't do anything. Just over and over and over again. Was that all you could think of to say?
They were accusing me of trying to have my husband killed, and I didn't. So that's what I kept continuously telling them.
When they turn the table, she doesn't fess up. She just keeps denying everything. And lacking that confession, they kept trying to shock her more and more.
And this is the part where what happens in that police department will go down in the history of detective work. This is a masterstroke.
The ultimate shock, you could call it a resurrection of sorts. Police tell her that her dead husband isn't actually dead.
Your husband is well and alive.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah, thank God.
Can I see
No, he
him?
doesn't want to see you.
They bring Mike in. Look, your husband's alive. We've got you.
Oh my God.
He's alive.
The show Cops is at the station capturing Mike's reaction.
Come here, please. Come here.
She keeps begging him to come inside the room, which he doesn't.
Mike, come here. Come here, please.
She sees her husband, and he's alive. What? You're alive?
This is a dead man walking and talking. You never see this happen.
Can't fix this.
Why not? I didn't do anything.
I heard you.
Mike, come here, please. Come here.
All of her skills as a femme fatale will start rolling in. Mike, come here, baby, come to me.
With cameras rolling inside and outside the interrogation room, it is reality TV on steroids.
I don't know what's going on, please.
For Mike DiPolito, it's a surreal love story that quickly turned into a nightmare.
He never saw it coming. For Mike, this was a whirlwind romance. He was head over heels in love with Dalia.
I met Dalia and we got along very well. There was never any friction. We never argued. How can I say? Our sex life was incredible.
Meanwhile, the entire time she's plotting behind his back.
There's this side to his wife he has no idea about.
Mike DiPolito insists that the accusations made by Dalia DiPolito that he was abusive are totally false. Still, Dalia secretly wants out of the relationship. And authorities say if she can get out with a pile of Mike's money, that's even better.
Mike DiPolito still owed $191,000 restitution, and he was on probation for decades. If he could make that restitution, he could make an argument to get off probation.
But he says Dalia told him she could help him with that.
Dalia said, if you can come up with $100,000, I will take $91,000 of my own. I'll put it with your money and we'll send it to the lawyer together. It was her responsibility to wire the money to Mike's lawyer.
She says she's helping him. He thinks that she is. But in reality, she's doing anything but helping him.
Soon, Mike notices odd things are starting to happen.
Before I met her, I don't think I had a run-in with the police since I've been home from prison. I meet her, I'm running into the cops more than I ran into the cops probably ever in my life.
Mike will soon find out that someone is trying to frame him for crimes he didn't commit.
On 2 occasions, drugs were planted in his vehicle. Mike decides to take Dahlia away for a couple of days to the Ritz-Carlton. Mike is stopped by a police officer, and the police officer tells Mike that they had received an anonymous call saying that he was dealing drugs out of his Tahoe.
He goes, "Do you mind if we search?" I said, "Absolutely, go ahead." He searched the truck, didn't find anything. It was very odd. And then the next day, I go to get gas in the truck, and I find a bag of pills. It looked like cocaine in there. And that's when that hit me. I said, wait a minute. You know, somebody put this in my truck and called the police on me. They just didn't find it.
Authorities say Dahlia figures he's an ex-con, and if she can get him sent away for drugs, he'll be gone for a really long time, and she's home free.
I remember I looked at Dahlia, I said, "Did you put drugs in my truck?" She adamantly denied it, so I let it go. Fine, fine. But you know, every instinct's telling me that it doesn't make sense.
In fact, according to authorities, what she's really trying to do is get Mike DiPolito out of her life.
And that $100,000 he'd given to Dahlia, she was supposed to wire it to his lawyer, but she hadn't.
I knew clearly she stole my money. She's telling me she's going to get it back, and I'm doing everything in my power to believe her.
He just stays in the relationship. He seemed to be, I don't know, for lack of a better word, a chump for love.
Your ex-husband Michael claims you stole a lot of money from him. Money that was supposed to be used to pay his restitution. Did that happen?
No. It's money that he was hiding.
Police say that after her plot to try to get him jailed doesn't work, she ups the ante.
One morning, he gets a knock at the door.
We knocked on his door, and we actually woke him up.
All I see is a bunch of cops, and I'm like, oh boy. I go downstairs.
Police department, open your door.
I hesitantly open the door.
First, he didn't know what was going on.
I thought they were there to arrest me.
And we ended up telling him what we were there for.
You have to come with us. Your wife's going to have you killed today.
Your wife has hired a person to kill you. Just take it easy.
Clearly, this just hits him like a ton of bricks. I mean, he literally takes a step back.
We ended up taking him out of the house and driving him straight to the Boynton Beach Police Department.
They already know why we're here. Your wife hired somebody to kill you.
I also played a little bit of audio where she says, hey, I'm 5,000% sure that I want him killed.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
It wasn't like, you know, kill him softly, don't hurt him. It was like, you know, just blow the guy's brains out and, you know, can I get a cheese sandwich with that?
Even from behind bars, Dahlia is not finished trying to manipulate Mike DiPolito when she makes an astonishing phone call.
Hello? Hey, it's me.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing, Mike. Please come here.
Is she ready to confess, or is this something else?
Everybody asked me, why'd you take the phone call? I had to take the phone call.
As Dahlia DiPolito is being led out of the Boynton Beach Police Department and over to the Palm Beach County Jail, she has an audience.
The press, having seen the video released by police, is there to greet her.
Already, the media is out there with their cameras capturing it.
I didn't do anything, and I didn't plot anything.
You were headed to jail. What was that first night like?
It was a complete nightmare. I wasn't even officially in jail as the tapes were getting released, and they were already all over the news. They were everywhere.
Till death do them part. And it's all caught on video.
In the hours since the police released the tape to YouTube, the name Dahlia DiPolito is making the rounds and is making a big giant splash on cable TV.
Bombshell tonight.
A newlywed in Boynton Beach, Florida.
Work it, cry. Problem, Ruh-roh, the hitman, is a cop. I could just watch the video over and over. It just is one of those clips that never gets old. The crying, the screaming, the bending over. Meryl Streep, wherever you are tonight, don't worry, you're safe.
You became a headline around the world. Everyone knew your name.
It was awful.
While in jail, Dahlia makes a few tearful phone calls, first to her mother.
Hello? Mom, I'm in jail. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
You did. I know you didn't. I know you didn't. Okay. How many times did I told you to leave that guy? How many times did I tell you?
But her next phone call is unfathomable. From the jail, she calls Mike, the man police say she has just tried to have killed, and offers him no apologies.
Well, hello? Hey, it's me.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing, Mike. Can you please come here?
Everybody asked me, why'd you take the phone call? I had to take the phone call. I had to hear what she was going to say. I couldn't help myself to not take that phone call.
Mike, please, I need an attorney. Can you please help me?
You said you wanted to have me killed. I heard that.
That's not true. That is not true.
Not true.
How can you believe that?
I heard your voice.
Frankly, it's unbelievable that Dahlia called her husband, the victim in this case, the target of her actions, the person she wanted dead, to ask him to help her.
It is just unbelievable to listen to. The fact that she thought that she could demand that Mike help her is just on another level.
And he's even trying to give her advice as to what to do while she's in jail.
You're going to be ran around in there for a little while, a couple days. You need to just try and just go with it. And keep to yourself and don't say a lot.
I know she's never been in there before. I mean, it's not a nice place. I tried to tell her, stop acting, you know, the way you're acting, or you're going to have a rough time in there.
Mike, I love you. Everybody treated me awful good.
Things get spelled out for Mike that he was a very lucky man. Prosecutors say that Mike actually survived an earlier attempt on his life.
When Mohammed Shihada was giving a statement to police, he told them that Dahlia had poisoned Mike's Starbucks iced tea with antifreeze. So law enforcement, they just ask him, was there ever an incident with iced tea? And Mike then realized that he was a lot closer to his demise than he ever realized.
She went out and came back with some Starbucks iced teas. I take a sip and I spit it out so fast. It was terrible and I didn't think anything of it. I only took one sip. I was sick for about 2 weeks.
Dahlia's attorney said she never poisoned Mike.
Mike doesn't end up helping her find an attorney, but the attorney she does find ends up presenting one bizarre, wacky, intriguing defense.
It was a stunt. It was a hoax, a ruse, a plan that Mike DiPolito hoped to capture the attention of someone in reality TV.
You were acting in those tapes.
Yes.
It didn't make an iota of sense to me.
It was so far out of left field that they might just believe it.
We begin with the trial of a Florida woman arrested for plotting to kill her husband.
Your trial. Can you describe what that experience was like for you?
Confusing, really difficult. The cameras were there. The TV shows were actually filming the whole thing as I'm entering the courthouse.
Dahlia DiPolito entered the courthouse in a buttoned-up white sweater to meet the men and women who will likely decide her fate.
I have never had a case as a prosecutor that was so strong.
I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you see me, you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. You know, but I'm not.
You will see how determined she was to have Mike DiPolito, her husband, killed.
In opening statements, the prosecutor, Elizabeth Parker, wants to make sure these jurors don't believe that Dahlia is this little innocent figure and that she is a much darker, more evil person.
He asked her, "Are you sure you want to kill him?" Without hesitation, as if she had ice running through her veins, She says, "There's no changing. I'm determined already."
My biggest concern, the evidence seemed to be overwhelming. But you have Mike, who's got a shady past. I knew the defense would make him out to be a con man.
Please tell us your name. Michael DiPolito.
What's awesome about this case is that the jury actually gets to hear from the victim. In a plot to kill somebody, the victim is almost always dead.
I don't know how to explain it. I just don't know how to explain it.
He was a likable character. I knew that I just needed to get him on the stand for long enough to have the jury like him too.
What did you think of your marriage?
I thought it was great. I was having fun with my wife. It's getting off probation, I thought.
Did the defendant seem happy?
Yes.
He completely owns up to his past.
I'm a convicted felon. I go to probation every month and report. I hold my head up as high as I can.
On cross-examination, when Dalia DiPolito's lawyer keeps asking him and keeps repeating the word probation, Mike DiPolito bites back and makes the entire courtroom laugh.
You're like a parrot.
A parrot?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I've been called a lot of things. What's a parrot?
Did you do that on probation? Were you on probation? Did you do that on probation? Were you on probation? You know what I'm talking about. I'm just having fun with you. Come on, I'm with you.
You're having fun with me? Let me ask you something. Is this fun, Mr. DiPolito?
This sucks.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. We're not here because of me. You might as well put me up next. I mean, what are we doing here?
But another Mike is about to make an entrance into the trial. Mike Stanley, an ex-boyfriend of Dalia's,
And you're gonna meet Michael Stanley.
who prosecutors say discussed with Dalia planting the drugs in Mike DiPolito's truck.
So, the prosecution introduced tons of text messages between Dalia and Mike Stanley.
They were talking about everything they wanted to do once DiPolito was out the way.
So their X-rated conversation is read on the stand by Boynton Beach detective Alex Marino.
Do you want my hot, tight body all over you?
You can just see how uncomfortable this police officer is as he's reading these steamy text messages.
Love you so much. I'm so horny for you. Some of the stuff was kind of cheesy. I mean, I had to read it up on the stand. It was not my best moment. Baby, I love you, and I only want to you.
She's telling Mike Stanley, once this guy's gone, you and I can have the life we've imagined. I will have Michael's money, we'll have this condo, everything will be good.
Greed was the very basic core of why Dalia did this.
Parker says when Dalia's plan to put her husband back in prison failed, that's when she took things a step further.
Yeah, but killing somebody, come on. Nobody's gonna be able to point a finger at me. I'm determined already. I'm positive, like 5,000% Charlotte.
After the prosecution rests, now it's the defense's turn, and they are going to use that infamous video for their own purposes.
That's where this novel defense theory came into play, a defense theory that was actually a little hard to believe.
The plot for the contract killing of Mike DiPolito was never real.
He comes up with a defense that rocks the community, which is, this was all for a reality show. She knew she was being taped. She and Mike wanted to be stars. So they came up with this idea, and it was all a hoax. It was Mike DiPolito's idea, and Mike DiPolito was in on it, and she's not guilty.
It was a stunt. It was a hoax, a ruse, a plan that Mike DiPolito hoped to capture the attention of someone in reality TV.
Dalia's lawyers claim that Mike and Dalia DiPolito wanted to be famous. They wanted to be like the stars of Cheaters or Jersey Shore.
Salnick presents a computer forensic expert who found that Dalia had searched reality shows on her computer.
The website name says welcome to realitytvcastingcall.com.
It fits with his obsession about his appearance, his vanity, and others might be interested in his reality.
I was shocked. I mean, where was the evidence that this was a reality show plot?
Diane, listen to me for a second, okay?
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
At no time does she ever stand up and say, well, hold on a minute. This was all, Michael, Mohammed, wait a minute. This is all a setup. We were all acting, right? Wouldn't be that the first thing out of your mouth if you're about to be arrested.
And not only that, Mike DiPolito strenuously denied that it had anything to do with reality TV tryouts.
Did you ever have aspirations to be on a reality show?
No.
Did you ever act out any scenarios with a defendant for a reality show?
No. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I couldn't even believe they made something like that up. I don't know what reality show a 40-year-old man, 40-year-old convicted felon could be on.
This defense received a fair amount of eyebrow raising.
She didn't want to kill her husband. She just wanted to be on a reality show.
A pretty shocking twist in the case of the Florida wife caught on tape taking a contract out on her husband. Well, we got to bring in our legal analyst, Dan Abrams, on this one. And Dan, all of us just shook our heads when we heard this.
I've seen a lot of wild and crazy defenses in my day, and this is certainly one of the wildest and one of the craziest. The reaction to this defense was, are you kidding me? This is an almost impossible defense to win. And so I think in order for it to succeed, Dalia DiPolito would have to take the witness stand.
Judge, the defense is going to rest.
But Dalia does not end up testifying.
It was a daily, yes, you're going to testify, no, you're not going to testify. And
Did you want to testify?
Yes, I did.
She's like poison candy. Attractive on the outside, but deadly on the inside.
I was confident in the case that I had presented. I was truly concerned that it was such a bizarre defense.
I've been advised that the jury has reached a verdict.
Except this was nowhere near the end of this story.
Now closing arguments continue in the Dalia DiPolito murder for hire trial.
And this case will go to the jury before lunch.
It was a typically hot day in Florida, but that is not why Dalia DiPolito was sweating. She was facing up to 30 years behind bars.
Waiting for the verdict. What was that like?
It's nerve-wracking. It's just really stressful, really tense.
I've been advised that the jury has reached a verdict.
The jury took just 3 hours to come to a decision.
We find the defendant guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder.
I was numb. It wasn't at all what I was expecting to hear. I never had the impression or the understanding from my attorney that losing was a possibility. Everything was always, you know what, we got this.
Wow.
We have really good poker faces, apparently.
We all just said, well, she's guilty.
Yeah.
It was just kind of unanimous.
And the defense didn't present anything that really represented this was for a reality TV show.
And she said, I am 5,000% sure. And that did it for me.
There is absolutely no moral justification for your conduct. It was pure evil. I'm sentencing you to 20 years in the Department of Corrections.
I looked at her in that courtroom and I just said to myself, man, this is sad. I wish we were never here, and as far as the sentence, I'm 5,000% happy with it.
That seemed to be it. Case closed, except this was nowhere near the end of this story.
Everybody thinks, bye-bye, Dalia, that's it. But it turns out she got an appeal.
In the last hours, the Black Widow, Dalia DiPolito, set to walk free.
The appeals court tosses out the conviction.
Dalia's lawyers argue there was a problem during jury selection. And then, 3 years later, a court agrees. And so Dalia DiPolito is getting a new trial.
Were you surprised?
The first piece of good news throughout the whole process.
So now we move on to Dalia round 2. That's right, she's coming back a second time. And this time, there's a new cast of players.
For this second trial, Dalia hires 2 high-profile lawyers she's seen on TV, Mark Eiglarsh and Bryan Claypool.
Defense attorney Bryan Claypool, nice to see you both.
I am 5,000% sure Dalia DiPolito is innocent.
Dalia's new lawyers allow her to speak publicly for the first time, and that's when I had the opportunity to exclusively interview her.
Your every move is monitored.
Clearly, the strategy was for Dalia to try and undergo a bit of an image rehabilitation.
When people hear the name Dalia DiPolito, what do you think comes to mind?
Everything negative.
Give me 3 words to describe yourself. Who is Dalia Dippolito?
Understanding, sweet, and compassionate.
Because it was a pre-trial interview, Dalia's lawyers wouldn't let her discuss certain parts of the case, particularly those videotapes.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure. Like.
Did you hire a hitman to kill your husband?
No.
How do you explain then what we saw and what we heard on those videotapes?
I'd like to be able to explain that to you right now, but I can't because the attorneys legally have told me that we're saving that for our day in court.
In our interview, Dalia's lawyer, Bryan Claypool, reiterated that reality TV defense that we saw in her first trial.
Dalia, her ex Mike, and this gentleman Mohammed were all part of this collaboration to put together a YouTube video of a scene where they're hiring somebody to kill somebody. They wanted to submit that, post it on YouTube to try to get acting parts. That was the plan. It got out of control.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
5,000% sure, not 100% sure, not 1,000% sure, but 5,000% sure. How do you explain that?
I look at that video and I see somebody who's struggling with whether she's really sure.
She's struggling? What?
Why? Well,
how is she struggling if she's 5,000% sure?
Well, you might find that humorous, but when I hear people say they're sure, I'm 110% sure. She's trying to overcompensate.
As for Mohammed, he denies working with Mike and Dalia to make a video to try and get acting jobs.
Mike Dippolito says he's never even met Mohammed.
What do you say to people who say you're just denying the undeniable, that this is an open and shut case?
That now with the attorneys that I have, so much is coming to light to where it would just be insane to not believe me. The tape was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes?
Yes.
But you're telling the truth now?
Yes.
Why should we believe you?
Because it's what happened. It's the truth.
Dalia Dippolito escorted into court by her attorneys for her second trial.
Dalia's second trial is going to shock a lot of people in a number of ways.
Claypool dropped this bomb.
He just throws off like it's nothing. And by the way, if you send her to prison, you're going to be separating her from her infant son. What infant son?
Walking on the sidewalk right now, this doesn't happen very often.
No, this doesn't happen at all. This is the first time I've had to walk in a long time.
Yeah, your every move is monitored.
I took a rare walk with Dalia Dippolito outside her lawyer's office while she was on house arrest, awaiting her second trial. She was living at her mother's house, tethered to an ankle bracelet.
This is what it looks like, and it doesn't come off at all.
You've been living under house arrest for the better part of 5 years, nearly 6 years. What's been the hardest part?
Not knowing when it's over, not being able to leave, watching everybody around me being able to come and go as they want, and I can't do that.
After Dalia's first trial, she was convicted. Prosecutor Liz Parker wrote a book about it called Poison Candy.
This is what she wrote about you. She was poison candy, sweet, delicious, mouth-watering on the outside, but deadly within, and designed to cripple the innocent. What's it like hearing those words?
It's hurtful. When I found out that the book was out, I was suicidal.
Do you think people will change their minds about you when they hear from you in your second trial?
I'd like to believe so.
It's at a pre-trial hearing, part of an attempt by her lawyers to get the case dismissed, where Dalia finally has her chance to tell her side of the story under oath.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You take the witness stand on my right.
It's not unusual at all for a defendant to take the stand in a pretrial hearing as long as it's not in front of a jury.
Good afternoon, Mr. Leo.
She actually takes the stand, and she gets up and describes that I was acting, she says. I was acting.
We worked together on an acting project. We were all going to work on an actor's presentation to put up on social media.
That did not go well for Dahlia. Under cross-examination, the prosecutor, he just tore her story apart. He was, okay, first of all, where's the script? Where are the notes? Wouldn't you have production notes?
Where was your script this day?
What do you mean, where was it? It wasn't there. We looked at the script and we didn't take it with us.
The prosecution punches holes in this reality TV defense. One of the questions was, if this is all about reality TV, how come you can't clearly see your face, you know, with the cameras in the back of the car?
How come you can't see any of it?
I wasn't the one taking it. I don't know.
She had so many holes in her story, it made no sense.
Her true self shined through. She was so not convincing at that pretrial hearing under oath that the court ruled against her.
She loses the hearing, and so the motion to dismiss the case fails.
9 months later, it's Dahlia's second trial.
The high-profile retrial getting underway today in West Palm Beach.
Dahlia Dippolito getting a second chance at freedom after her first conviction was overturned.
Trial 2 was handled quite a bit differently by the prosecution. They were going to stick to those videos, and that was it. They didn't even call Michael Dippolito to testify.
Because the rest of the evidence was so powerful, my prosecutors felt that they would just go with the slimmed-down version of the case.
Her words on those videos prove the crime charged.
In the second trial, Dahlia's lawyers abandoned this reality TV defense.
The defense focused on the misconduct, they said, of the Boynton Beach Police Department. They were trying to flip the script and put all the blame on the police.
So far, no mention of that reality show acting defense that she had talked about previously.
Gone is this reality TV nonsense. Now they're leveling their charges against the Boynton Beach Police Department because Boynton Beach had brought cops in.
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
That opening theme song, Bad Boys, is so synonymous with the show, a show that is supposed to put a spotlight on the good work police do every day.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
At the beginning, the Boynton Beach Police Department really wanted to highlight their professionalism by participating with the cops' television show, but at the trial, the defense really hammered them and went after them, effectively putting them on trial.
This is a fake crime scene, right? Right?
Yes.
It's all pretend, right?
Yes.
It's all made up, right?
Yes.
And you think that's a good use of taxpayer money?
My opinion doesn't matter.
The presence of the cops' TV show created a frenzy within the Boynton Beach Police Department to manufacture good television. They tossed Dahlia Dippolito under the bus. They made this way more than it ever was. And they could care less about her constitutional rights.
The Boynton Beach police say there was no wrongdoing and they were just trying to gather evidence.
Cops filming with the Boynton Beach Police Department had nothing to do with this investigation. It was just a coincidence as far as timing was concerned.
Then the defense pulls out its ace card, and it's a showstopper.
Claypool gets up, he's making this dramatic closing argument, and he just throws off like it's nothing.
Give her that freedom back to go home to her family and her infant son.
By the way, if you send her to prison, you're going to be separating her from her infant son.
We all sort of are like the reporters in the back row. We're all sort of like, look, did I just hear that she has a child?
The latest bombshell was dropped last night during closing arguments.
Turns out it was the appliance repairman. He came to her house, they fell in love, she got pregnant, and she had a baby, all on house arrest.
And right now, we're on verdict watch in the Dahlia Dippolito retrial.
I think there was a general expectation that she would be convicted.
A bombshell announcement in the murder-for-hire case against Dalia DiPolito.
We, the jury, feel that we cannot reach a unanimous decision.
The jury telling the judge late today they are deadlocked.
I must declare a mistrial at this time. There were 3 votes for guilty and 3 votes for not guilty.
Courtroom shocker, Dalia DiPolito walking out a free woman after a judge declared a mistrial in her murder-for-hire retrial.
I can count on one finger the number of people in this country who felt we even had a chance in this case.
Whenever you don't get a conviction, you're disappointed. But I knew that we had a great team and we would do it again and perhaps do it a little differently.
Immediately after trial number 2, the state attorney, Dave Ehrenberg, said, "We are taking her to trial again."
There was not a second when we thought that we would let her go free. Not a second.
Prosecutors vowing to try her a 3rd time.
And so now we're going on to Dalia Chapter 3.
This is the 3rd time DiPolito has been on trial for this murder-for-hire case.
Heading into the 3rd trial, prosecutors are certainly hoping that they can finally close the book on this case.
We knew she tried to commit murder, and she had gotten away with it thus far. And until we heard the word guilty, we were not going to be able to exhale fully.
This is the 3rd time DiPolito has been on trial for this murder-for-hire case.
Well, the prosecutors for the 3rd trial this time went back to the original strategy of putting on more of a prosecution.
We wanted the jury to get more context. We wanted the jury to see Michael DiPolito.
Introduce yourself to the jury for the record.
Hi, my name is Mike DiPolito.
By humanizing the victim, you impress upon them truly the importance of this case. It's vitally important that they put him on the stand.
Did her arrest for solicitation to commit first-degree murder shock you?
Yes.
Would it work? Well, in this 3rd trial, it didn't take long for the jury to make its decision.
A verdict for the woman on trial in a murder-for-hire.
Well, some say 3 times a charm, but not for Dalia DiPolito.
She was found guilty in 90 minutes. I mean, we were all a bit stunned. There was apparently no doubt in the jurors' mind.
16 years behind bars. That is the sentence for Dalia DiPolito.
Dalia DiPolito expressionless inside a Palm Beach County courtroom today, moments after learning her fate.
Dalia's current release date is 2032. She serves the entirety of that sentence. She'd be 49 years old when released.
Dalia, in jail, heads up a Bible study group. She misses her child dearly. Her mom has stepped up immensely to help take care of her little boy. He's a preschooler, and he comes to visit his mom in jail at least once a month. And Dalia has described him as being very playful, very happy, very outgoing. She is still determined to get a new trial and to get vindicated.
Dalia's attorneys have tried to get the verdict thrown out again.
Her case, she tried to get her case all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Earlier this year, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear Dalia's appeal.
The Dalia DiPolito saga is finally over. The reality show is done. The last chapter has been written.
We're still fighting, and we're going to file a federal brief to attempt to get a new trial for Dalia.
After she left the prosecutor's office, Elizabeth Parker became Mike DiPolito's attorney and even helped get him off probation.
He paid all of the restitution that was owed to the victims.
Mike got engaged and seems to be moving forward with his life.
How much do you love this guy?
I love him a lot.
It's nice. Sometimes it's hard to accept something this good's happening to you.
He's very lucky to be alive.
It's not been an easy journey for him. He truly thought Dalia was the love of his life.
Did you ever love Mike DiPolito?
Yes. I married him because I loved him. I was in a relationship with him because I loved him.
And now?
Now I wish I never would have met him.
Oh, I feel the same way. I wish I would have made a left, not a right. Trust me.
Bite his. Demonstrated fluency in English throughout the interview. The court denied the motion, finding that his constitutional rights had been fully respected. In January of 2022, rather than proceeding with a lengthy and painful trial, Fuentes Flores agreed to a slow plea, a legal procedure where the judge reviews the extensive evidence and renders a verdict. The court found him guilty on all counts, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. While the legal resolution brought an end to the judicial process, the pain of Nancy's absence remains a permanent reality for her family and community. Amanda continues to run the salon, carrying on her mother's legacy of warmth and connection. She and her daughter ride Nancy's beloved horse, Montana, keeping her memory alive in the quiet beauty of the Paso Robles countryside. As we transition our analytical focus from the Golden Hills of California to the majestic, snow-capped mountains of Summit County, Utah, we encounter another deeply troubling study in criminal psychology. In the case of Carlo Fuentes Flores, we observed a perpetrator whose violent impulses erupted from a hidden personal life, ultimately exposed by the objective reality of digital tracking. In our next case, we examine a different and perhaps more complex psychological profile, an individual who allegedly sought to construct an elaborate public narrative of grief and tragedy to conceal a calculated and financially motivated crime. The mountain community of Summit County, Utah, is known for its affluent residences, world-class ski resorts, and serene natural environment. It is a place where family values, community solidarity, and professional success are highly esteemed. Within this setting, Eric and Corey Richens appeared to embody the ideal of the American dream. Eric Richens was a 39-year-old stonemason who had built a highly successful business, C&E Masonry, raised in a devout family belonging to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Eric was a man of deep faith, strong work ethic, and an intense passion for the outdoors. He was a dedicated father to his 3 young sons, coaching their soccer teams, taking them camping, and sharing his love for the rugged Utah wilderness. Corey Richens was a bright, ambitious woman who had risen from humble beginnings to establish her own real estate and house-flipping business, K. Richens Realty. She was known as a devoted mother, actively involved in her children's schools, sports, and community events. Together, the couple enjoyed a highly affluent lifestyle, purchasing a beautiful home and taking frequent vacations. However, beneath this pristine exterior, serious financial and marital tensions were developing. Corey's business ambitions had grown significantly, leading her to undertake increasingly risky and expensive renovation projects. Among her most ambitious endeavors was the purchase of a partially completed multi-million-dollar mansion in Midway, Utah, which she envisioned transforming into a luxury event venue. To fund these ventures, Corey began securing large, high-interest loans, commonly referred to as hard money loans, which placed an immense financial strain on her operations. In 2020, Eric made a troubling discovery. Corey had secretly secured a $250,000 line of credit against their family home, which Eric owned solely. This revelation shattered Eric's trust in his wife's financial integrity. In response, Eric consulted a divorce attorney and took immediate steps to protect his assets and his children's future. He secretly established a family trust, naming his sister, Katie, as the trustee and executor, and designating his 3 sons as the sole beneficiaries of his estate, effectively excluding Corey. Despite these measures, the couple remained together, participating in marriage, counseling, and attempting to project an image of domestic harmony. Yet the underlying resentment and financial desperation continued to simmer. In the early morning hours of March 4th, 2022, Corey placed a frantic call to 911. She reported that she had spent the evening celebrating a major business acquisition with her husband, during which she had prepared a mixed drink for him. She claimed she later went to sleep in one of her son's bedrooms to comfort him during a night terror. When she returned to the master bedroom at approximately 3 o'clock in the morning, she found Eric cold to the touch and unresponsive. Emergency responders arrived at the scene to find Corey performing cardiopulmonary resuscitation on her husband. Despite their efforts, Eric was pronounced deceased at the scene. Initial observations by paramedics, who noted a small amount of blood near Eric's mouth, led to a preliminary hypothesis that he may have suffered a sudden medical event, such as a brain aneurysm. However, the subsequent autopsy and toxicology analysis revealed a far more sinister reality. The medical examiner determined that Eric's death was caused by a lethal oral ingestion of illicit fentanyl. The concentration of the drug in his system was determined to be over 5 times the lethal dosage. Crucially, the substance was identified as illicitly manufactured street fentanyl rather than pharmaceutical-grade medication. The revelation of a fatal overdose in a healthy, athletic young man who was known to have no history of illicit drug use immediately transformed the medical inquiry into a homicide investigation. The Summit County Sheriff's Office, working alongside private investigators hired by Eric's suspicious family, began a deep examination of Corey's activities and financial records. The tension between the two families erupted almost immediately after Eric's passing. Within days of his death, Corey attempted to access a safe in the family home containing Eric's will, when Eric's sister, Amy, intervened, pointing out that Eric had altered his estate plan to exclude his wife. A physical altercation ensued, resulting in Corey's arrest and subsequent conviction for simple assault. As the financial investigation progressed, detectives uncovered the true extent of Corey's financial distress. She was facing millions of dollars in debt, with several of her properties, including the Midway Mansion, facing foreclosure. Furthermore, investigators discovered that Corey had taken out multiple life insurance policies on Eric without his knowledge, totaling nearly $2 million in coverage. The behavioral evidence grew even more complex when, in the year following Eric's death, Corey authored and self-published a children's grief book titled, Are You With Me? The book, written from the perspective of a child wondering if their deceased father is still present in their life, was dedicated to Eric. Corey embarked on a media campaign to promote the book, appearing on local television programs to discuss her family's journey through grief and offering advice to other bereaved parents. To the public, she presented herself as a tragic, courageous widow. To investigators, this public display was increasingly viewed as a calculated effort to deflect suspicion and control the narrative. The breakthrough in the criminal investigation came through the analysis of Corey's communication records. Investigators identified frequent text messages and calls between Corey and a woman named Carmen Lauber, who had previously worked for Corey's cleaning service and possessed a known history of drug offenses. Faced with potential drug distribution and weapon charges, Lauber agreed to cooperate with law enforcement. She revealed that Corey had approached her on 2 separate occasions prior to Eric's death, requesting that she procure strong pain medication, specifically identifying fentanyl. Lauber admitted to purchasing the illicit pills from a local dealer and delivering them to Corey. The timing of these transactions was highly significant. The first delivery occurred in early February of 2022. On Valentine's Day of that year, Corey purchased a sandwich for Eric from a local deli. After taking a single bite of the sandwich, Eric became violently ill, suffering a severe reaction that required him to use his son's epinephrine auto-injector and take antihistamines before falling into a deep sleep. He subsequently texted a friend, stating that he believed his wife had attempted to poison him. The second delivery of fentanyl from Lauber to Corey occurred on February 26th, just days before Eric's fatal overdose. In addition to the financial motive, investigators uncovered evidence of a romantic incentive. Cell phone records revealed that Corey had been engaged in a long-term, secretive affair with a handyman named Josh Grossman. The two exchanged daily, highly affectionate messages, with Corey expressing a deep desire to leave her marriage and build a future with Grossman, suggesting that life would be perfect if her husband were to simply go away. In May of 2023, Corey Richens was arrested and charged with aggravated murder and multiple counts of possession of controlled substances with intent to distribute. While held in the Summit County Jail pending trial, Corey's actions continued to draw the attention of authorities. During a routine search of her cell, corrections officers discovered a handwritten 4-page letter addressed to her mother. The letter, which the prosecution characterized as an attempt at witness tampering, instructed her mother to direct her brother, Ronnie, to deliver false testimony claiming that Eric had routinely obtained pain medication and fentanyl during trips to Mexico. In March of 2024, the prosecution amended the charges to include attempted murder, specifically relating to the Valentine's Day sandwich incident. Despite the mounting evidence, Corey maintained her innocence, releasing an audio statement from jail claiming she had always sought to protect her husband and would never harm him. The highly anticipated trial commenced in a small courthouse near Park City, Utah. The prosecution presented a comprehensive case detailing Corey's immense debt, her secret insurance policies, her affair, and the testimony of Carmen Lauber and the drug supplier. Perhaps the most poignant moment of the trial occurred when Josh Grossman took the stand. Visible, shaken, and emotional, Grossman testified about their relationship and the corny, affectionate text messages they had exchanged. Crucially, he recounted a conversation they had shared in her vehicle after Eric's death, during which Corey had asked him if he had ever killed anyone during his military service in Iraq, and how that experience had made him feel. The defense focused their strategy on highlighting the absence of direct physical evidence showing Corey placing the drugs in Eric's drink on the night of his death, in a dramatic and unexpected legal maneuver following the conclusion of the state's 13-day presentation. The defense chose to rest their case without calling a single witness or presenting a defense narrative, banking on their belief that the prosecution had failed to meet the high burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. After a trial lasting several weeks, the 8-member jury retired to deliberate. In under 3 hours, they returned with a unanimous verdict, finding Corey Richins guilty of aggravated murder and all remaining charges. The swift verdict brought a sense of relief and justice to Eric's family and friends, who had endured years of emotional turmoil. For the community, the conviction of Corey Richins served as a sobering reminder of the devastating consequences of unbridled ambition, deception, and the chilling capacity of an individual to wear a mask of grief to conceal a terrible deed. As we reflect on these two extraordinary cases, we are reminded of the vital importance of professional, scientific, and dedicated law enforcement work. Whether through the innovative application of digital geofencing in the search for Nancy Woodrum, or the relentless financial and forensic analysis that exposed the actions of Corey Richins, justice was ultimately served through the quiet, patient effort to uncover the truth. In the end, the memory of the victims and the love they shared with their families remains the true light that dispels even the deepest darkness. The anatomy of deception. In the quiet corridors of human experience, we often comfort ourselves with the belief that evil announces itself. We expect the monstrous to wear a recognizable mask, to speak in harsh tones, and to dwell in the shadowed margins of society. Yet, as any seasoned criminal psychology analyst will observe, the most chilling threats often wear the face of the mundane. They are found in the pleasant smiles of neighbors, the ambitious strides of local entrepreneurs, and the solemn countenances of grieving spouses. Deception is not merely a falsehood, spoken to evade consequences. It is an elaborate lifestyle, a constructed reality designed to shield the perpetrator from the gaze of justice, and occasionally from their own conscience. To understand the criminal mind is to embark on a journey through the labyrinth of human rationalization, the transition from processing personal or financial distress to executing a cold, calculated act of malice requires a psychological scaffolding. The individual must convince themselves that their desires outweigh the very existence of another. In this exploration, we examine too deeply troubling cases that unfolded in seemingly idyllic landscapes, the mountain towns of Utah and the sun-drenched vineyards of California. Both narratives reveal the intricate dance between outward presentation and inward rot, and both serve as testaments to the quiet, relentless brilliance of modern investigative forces. Through the lens of forensic science, digital footprints, and psychological profiling, we will deconstruct how these modern mysteries were unraveled. In doing so, we honor the memory of the victims. Eric Richins, a devoted father and craftsman, and Nancy Woodrum, a woman of deep faith and generous spirit. Their lives were cut short by individuals who believed their own cleverness could outmatch the natural order of truth. But as these cases demonstrate, the truth has a patient, persistent way of rising to the surface. The Gilded Lamentation, the case of Corey Richins. The public first encountered Corey Richins not as a suspect, but as an apostle of grief. On local television screens, she appeared as a picture of tragic resilience, a young mother of 3 young boys, ages 10, 9, and 6, navigating the unbearable void left by the sudden and unexpected passing of her 39-year-old husband, Eric. She sat before interviewers, her voice steady but laced with soft sorrow, promoting a self-published children's book titled, "Are You With Me?" The book, she explained, was born from her family's private struggle. It was presented as a literary nightlight for children navigating the dark, frightening waters of loss. The narrative spoke of a child wondering if his deceased father was still present at soccer games, cheering from an unseen sideline, while the father's spirit replied with reassuring warmth. To the casual observer, Corey was a heroine of domestic tragedy, converting her immense pain into a public service. Yet to the trained analyst, there is often a delicate, almost imperceptible line between genuine memorialization and psychological displacement. Sometimes, the perpetrator of a heinous act will wrap themselves in the mantle of the victim's advocate. It is a highly sophisticated form of cognitive shielding. By writing a book about the tragedy, Corey was not merely comforting her children. She was attempting to write the definitive narrative of Eric's death before anyone else could examine the footnotes. She was constructing a monument to her own innocence, printed on glossy pages and bound in paternal sentimentality. But behind this literary facade lay a dark, chaotic reality of immense debt, fractured family trust, and a double life that would ultimately collapse under the weight of forensic truth. The fateful call and the silent house. The official record of this tragedy begins not with a book, but with a frantic call to emergency services, a little after 3 in the morning on a cold March night. Corey's voice filled the dispatch lines. She reported that her husband, Eric, was cold to the touch and not breathing. The dispatcher, operating with the calm urgency of their profession, instructed her to begin chest compressions, counting out the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. When emergency responders arrived at the family's residence in Kamas, Utah, they found a chaotic scene. Firefighters and paramedics descended upon the master bedroom, where Eric lay on his back on the floor. A cardiopulmonary resuscitation machine was deployed, its rhythmic mechanical thudding filling the tense air, but there was no pulse, no breath, no spark of life remaining. Eric Richins had been dead for some time before the first siren wailed in the distance. On the body-worn cameras of the responding officers, we see Corey standing in the hallway, attempting to explain the inexplicable. Her narrative was a tapestry of domestic routine and sudden medical failure. She explained that they had been celebrating a successful real estate transaction earlier that evening, sharing a drink at 9 o'clock to toast her professional triumph. She mentioned that one of her sons had suffered a night terror, prompting her to go to the child's room to comfort him. When she returned to the master bedroom in the early hours of the morning, she reached out to her husband, only to find him unresponsive. When officers questioned her about Eric's health, she painted a picture of minor ailments. She mentioned he suffered from Lyme disease, a condition he contracted during his outdoor excursions, and suggested he occasionally took a sleeping aid or a tetrahydrocannabinol gummy to rest. But she insisted he was otherwise healthy, an active and athletic man who worked hard on the family's cattle ranch and ran a highly successful stonemasonry business. Yet, even in those first hours, the sharp eyes of the first responders noticed details that did not quite align with a peaceful passing in the night. There was a surprising amount of blood around Eric's mouth, a detail that puzzled the paramedics. An initial, tentative hypothesis of a brain aneurysm was floated by an emergency medical technician on the scene, a theory that Corey and her mother quickly adopted. To the grieving family, it was a comforting explanation, a sudden, silent biological betrayal that no one could have prevented. But the state has a legal and moral obligation to investigate any sudden, unexpected death of a young, healthy individual. The county coroner's office initiated a forensic autopsy, a standard procedure that would soon tear away the veil of natural tragedy, the fraudulent foundation. To understand the motivation behind Eric Richins' death, one must look past the suburban luxury of the family home and peer into the ledger books of Corey's business ventures. Corey had grown up in a family of modest means, moving frequently as her parents worked construction jobs. She was a young woman of intense ambition, a quality that could be a virtue when tempered by ethics, but a dangerous catalyst when fueled by greed. For years, she had watched the wealthy residents of Park City from distance, cleaning their expansive mansions as part of her aunt's business. She harbored a deep, driving desire to be the one who owned the mansions, not the one who scrubbed their floors. In 2019, she launched her own real estate firm, specializing in home flipping. On the surface, she appeared highly successful, managing 15 projects simultaneously and posting celebratory videos on social media with satisfied clients. But the reality of high-stakes real estate is unforgiving. Corey had set her sights on her most ambitious project yet, a massive, unfinished mansion in Midway, Utah, valued at nearly $3 million. She envisioned transforming this property into a grand event space for weddings, a venture she believed would secure her place among the local elite. To fund this dream, she began operating in the high-risk world of hard money loans, borrowing millions of dollars at exorbitant interest rates. As her debts mounted, Corey began to view her husband's assets not as family security, but as a personal reserve. In 2020, Eric discovered a devastating betrayal. Corey had secretly forged his signature to secure a $150,000 line of credit against their family home, a property that Eric owned solely. This discovery shattered the foundation of their marriage. Eric, a traditional man who valued hard work and financial prudence, consulted a divorce attorney. Though they remained together and entered counseling, the trust was permanently broken. Eric took quiet, deliberate steps to protect his assets and, most importantly, his 3 young sons. He established a private trust, naming his sister as the executor and designating his children as the sole beneficiaries of his estate and the family home. He signed a prenuptial agreement on the very day of their wedding, a document that Corey had signed with great reluctance, which ensured his masonry business would remain his alone unless he passed away while they were married. Thus, a terrible financial calculus began to take shape in the shadows of Corey's mind. If Eric divorced her, she would be left ruined, buried under millions of dollars of business debt with no access to his wealth. But if Eric were to die, she would stand to inherit his life insurance policies, his estate, and the freedom to pursue her real estate empire unhindered. The forensic revelation. When the toxicological analysis of Eric's blood was completed, the results sent shockwaves through the community. There was no brain aneurysm, no sudden heart failure, and no complication from Lyme disease. The cause of death was acute drug intoxication. Specifically, the medical examiner found a massive, lethal concentration of fentanyl in Eric's system, a dosage 5 times the amount required to kill an average adult. Crucially, the substance was identified as illicitly manufactured fentanyl, not The medical-grade compound prescribed by doctors. This was a street drug, eh? Substance manufactured in clandestine laboratories containing impurities that pointed directly to an illegal source. For Eric's family, the report confirmed their worst fears. Eric was a man who despised drugs, who built his life on physical labor and outdoor sports. He did not abuse opioids. His family immediately directed the attention of law enforcement toward Corey, sharing their long-held suspicions about her financial deceptions and previous bizarre illnesses that Eric had suffered. Armed with the toxicological findings, the Summit County Sheriff's Office initiated a homicide investigation. Investigators secured search warrants for the Richens' home, seizing electronic devices, cell phones, and financial documents. While they found no physical traces of fentanyl within the residence, the digital evidence would tell a far more damning story. The illicit pipeline. A criminal investigation is often a process of reconstructing a suspect's digital life. When detectives analyzed Corey's phone records, they discovered a persistent, high-frequency circle of communication. Aside from her husband and her mother, Corey was in constant contact with a woman named Carmen Lauber, a local resident with a history of drug-related offenses who had worked as a cleaner on some of Corey's real estate properties. Under the direction of lead detective Jeff O'Driscoll, law enforcement began to focus on Carmen, using a tactical opportunity presented by Carmen's probation status. Detectives searched her residence and uncovered evidence of drug possession and an illegal firearm. Facing the prospect of decades in prison, Carmen agreed to cooperate with the state, revealing the grim details of her transactions with Corey. According to Carmen, Corey had approached her in early 2022, asking if she could procure strong pain medication for an investor who had suffered a back injury. Carmen complied, obtaining hydrocodone pills. But shortly thereafter, Corey returned with a more specific, lethal request. She wanted some of that Cold War stuff, which Carmen understood to mean fentanyl. Carmen reached out to her local dealer, a man named Robert Crozier. She purchased a batch of illicit pills and delivered them to Corey at a real estate property. But a few weeks later, Corey contacted her again, complaining that the first batch was not strong enough and demanding a more potent dosage. Carmen secured a second delivery of fentanyl pills shortly before Eric's death. The chronological alignment of these drug acquisitions with critical events in the Richens household was devastating. On the 14th of February, 2022, Valentine's Day, Corey purchased a breakfast sandwich for Eric from a local diner. Within minutes of taking a bite, Eric became violently ill, exhibiting symptoms of an allergic reaction or poisoning. He was forced to use his son's epinephrine auto-injector and take Benadryl before losing consciousness. He survived that day, but he sent a text message to a friend containing a chilling prophetic warning. I think she tried to poison me. The courtroom drama. In May of 2023, the state of Utah formally arrested Corey Richens charging her with aggravated murder and multiple counts of possession of controlled substances with the intent to distribute. The arrest of a successful businesswoman and children's book author captured national attention, transforming the quiet mountain courthouse into a media circus. When the trial finally commenced, the prosecution, led by attorney Brad Bloodworth, presented a meticulous case built on 3 pillars: financial, desperation, romantic evasion, and forensic science. The state argued that Corey was drowning in a sea of debt exceeding $4 million and had constructed a plan to murder her husband to secure his assets and escape a marriage she felt trapped in. To support the romantic motive, the prosecution introduced a witness whose presence in the courtroom was a literal bombshell: Josh Grossman, a handyman and war veteran with whom Corey had been conducting a secret, intense affair. Grossman took the stand, his demeanor a mixture of sorrow and profound embarrassment. The state projected their private text messages onto a massive screen, exposing the raw, intimate details of their relationship to the court. While Grossman spoke of genuine affection, the text messages revealed a highly revealing psychological dynamic. Corey had painted a fantasy life for Grossman, promising him a future where they would live together in the guest house of the Midway mansion, operating a lucrative event center and raising children. But the most damning text message was sent less than 48 hours before Eric's death. Corey had messaged Grossman, pleading with him to hang in until Friday, promising that life is going to be different, I promise. Friday was the day Eric Richins died. Furthermore, Grossman testified to a chilling conversation they shared in her car in the weeks following Eric's death. Corey had turned to him, looking at his military background, and asked if he had ever killed anyone during his service in Iraq and how it made him feel. It was a question that hung heavily in the air of the courtroom, a window into her preoccupation with the psychology of termination, the unexpected resolution. The prosecution's case spanned 13 days, featuring expert accountants, medical examiners, digital analysts, and close friends of both the victim and the defendant. When the state rested, the courtroom prepared for a lengthy, complex defense presentation expected to last over a week. But in a move that stunned legal observers and the jury alike, Corey's newly appointed defense team, led by public defenders Kathy Nestor and Winnie Lewis, stood up and immediately rested their case without calling a single witness. In the calculus of criminal defense, resting without presenting a case is a high-risk gamble. It is a statement to the jury that the prosecution has failed to meet the high burden of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The defense argued that there was no direct forensic evidence, no physical traces of fentanyl on Corey's hands, and no eyewitness to the act of administration. They suggested that Eric's death was a tragic, self-inflicted accidental overdose, pointing to his occasional use of sleep aids. But the jury, composed of 8 citizens, was not swayed by the defenses. Silence. They had seen the toxicological reports, the financial records, the drug pipeline through Carmen Lauber, and the incriminating internet searches Corey had conducted, which included queries about luxury prisons for the rich. And what is a lethal dose of fentanyl? After a deliberation of less than 3 hours, the jury returned with a unanimous verdict, guilty of aggravated murder and all remaining charges. The conviction of Corey Richins was a triumph of systematic, modern detective work over a highly calculated domestic plot. It proved that a children's book, a sympathetic television interview, and a wealth of social media posts cannot obscure the cold, hard reality of forensic science. For Eric's family, the verdict brought a quiet, solemn sense of justice, a realization that the bright light of truth had finally pierced the gilded veneer of Corey's deception. The shadow over Paradise Ranch, the case of Nancy Woodrum. While the mountain valleys of Utah were grappling with the trial of Corey, Richins, another equally chilling mystery, had unfolded years earlier along the scenic coast of California. The Central Coast region, particularly the town of Paso Robles, is famous for its rolling hills, ancient oak trees, and world-class vineyards. It is a destination of peace and natural beauty, a place where people go to escape the frantic pace of metropolitan life. In this beautiful landscape lived Nancy Woodrum, a 62-year-old woman who ran a popular hair salon called The Strand. Nancy was a pillar of her community, known for her warmth, her generosity, and her deep, abiding faith as a Jehovah's Witness. She was an avid equestrian, finding peace and spiritual connection while riding her horse, Montana, through the scenic trails of her property on El Faro Road. In 2006, Nancy and her late husband, Robert, had purchased a rural property, which they painstakingly remodeled into a stunning estate they named Paradise Ranch. Following Robert's passing, Nancy turned the main house into a highly popular vacation rental, while she lived in a small, cozy cottage on the same land. Her goal was simple. She wished to sell the ranch, simplify her life, and devote her remaining years to full-time ministry, sharing her hope of a peaceful future with others. But in May of 2018, Paradise Ranch would become the stage for a terrifying crime, transforming a tranquil wedding weekend into a high-stakes investigation. The revelation of absence. The alarm was first raised on a Saturday morning when Nancy failed to appear for a scheduled Bible study, an absence that was deeply out of character for a woman of her devotion. Her daughter, Amanda, contacted a neighbor to check on her mother's cottage. The neighbor's report was chilling. The front door of the cottage was wide open. The television was blaring, but Nancy was nowhere to be found. When Amanda arrived at the property, her worst fears were realized. The cottage was intact. Nancy's purse, car keys, cellular phone, and tablet were still resting on a bench, and her 2 vehicles were parked outside. But there were horrific signs of violence. 2 large, Dark blood stains marred the bedroom. Carpet. There was blood spatter on the walls, the headboard, and a nearby cabinet. The sheets and bedding from her bed were entirely missing. The situation was exceptionally complicated. That very weekend, more than 20 wedding guests had checked into the main house at Paradise Ranch for a vineyard wedding. The property was filled with people celebrating a joyous occasion, completely unaware that a violent struggle had taken place only yards away from where they slept. When the San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office received the emergency call, Senior Deputy Clinton Cole was dispatched to the scene. Cole, a veteran investigator, recognized immediately that this was not a simple missing persons case. It was a crime scene of the most serious nature. Nancy Woodrum had been assaulted in her bedroom and taken against her will. The scattered clues. As forensic teams processed the cottage, they faced a daunting list of potential suspects. The wedding guests who had access to the property had to be interviewed and ruled out. Some guests, including one who had stayed behind, while others attended the rehearsal dinner, initially exhibited defensive behavior, raising red flags for the investigators. But systematic questioning, supported by digital photographs from the dinner event, eventually cleared them of involvement. The investigation received its first major breakthrough on that same Saturday evening. A California Highway Patrol officer reported finding a bundle of bloody bedding and women's clothing discarded along La Ponza Road, a remote rural route, approximately 7 miles from Paradise Ranch. Amanda confirmed that the gingham pattern sheets and the clothing belonged to her mother. The evidence painted a grim picture. Nancy had been wrapped in her own bedding and transported to a secondary, unknown location. But who had the local knowledge to navigate these remote dirt roads in the dark of night? While examining the master bedroom, a forensic specialist made a critical observation. On a beige pillow left on the bed, there was a partial handprint, pressed in blood. The nature of the print suggested that the pillow had been used as a tool of compression, perhaps to smother Nancy during the assault. Investigators carefully swabbed the blood and the handprint, extracting a sample of unknown male deoxyribonucleic acid. The sample was run through the national database, but it returned no matches. This meant the perpetrator was someone without a criminal record, a ghost in the system who had never been fingerprinted or swabbed by law enforcement. The digital trap. As the weeks turned into months, the investigation began to stall. The sheriff's department faced growing public pressure, with community members fearing that a predator was loose in their peaceful valley. Investigators had systematically cleared local contractors, disgruntled workers, and even Nancy's estranged family members through voluntary deoxyribonucleic acid testing. But the detectives refused to let the case go cold. They decided to deploy a cutting-edge forensic tool that had never been used in their county and was virtually unprecedented in the state of California: a Google geofence search warrant. Geofencing is a highly sophisticated digital technique. It allows investigators to draw a virtual boundary around a specific geographic area and request Google to identify any active mobile devices that entered that boundary during a precise window of time. The timeline for the search warrant was established by a crucial piece of evidence. When investigators analyzed Nancy's phone records, they discovered a failed emergency 911 call attempted at 12:17 on the night. She disappeared. The call had been terminated after 0 seconds, indicating that someone had forcefully seized the phone or shut it off the moment she tried to call for help. Using this precise timestamp, detectives drew a virtual fence around Nancy's cottage. When the data returned from Google, it was incredibly sparse, which was a blessing for investigators. In a rural, isolated area like El Faro Road, there should be no random cell phone activity in the middle of the night. The geofence data revealed a single, unknown mobile device pinging inside Nancy's cottage at 1:33 and 1:52 in the morning. Google provided the unique device identification number, which led investigators to the subscriber information. The owner of the device was Carlo Fuentes Flores, the two faces of the perpetrator. The name was immediately familiar to the investigators. Carlo Fuentes Flores was a local painter who had been hired to perform exterior maintenance on the buildings at Paradise Ranch to prepare the property for sale. During the initial phase of the investigation, detectives had interviewed Fuentes Flores. He had been exceptionally polite, cooperative, and mild-mannered. He had spoken warmly of Nancy, describing her as a hard worker who had read scriptures with him and even gifted him homemade tamales. He had a wife, a young daughter whom he adored, and a spotless record with no history of violence or criminal activity in either the United States of America or Mexico. But the geofence data did not lie. His phone had been inside Nancy's home in the dead of night, at the exact hour she was abducted. To understand how a seemingly peaceful family man could be connected to such a horrific crime, detectives conducted a forensic audit of his digital life. What they discovered was a classic psychological duality, a classic Jekyll and Hyde scenario. By day, Fuentes Flores was a neat, professional painter, highly recommended by his employers and beloved by his family. But by night, his digital searches revealed a dark, obsessive fixation. He spent hours consuming specific categories of internet pornography, focusing on older women or cougars. His phone contained numerous self-shot videos of encounters with escorts and call girls, revealing a secret life of compulsion and infidelity that he kept hidden from his wife and community. Detectives now had a motive, a sexually motivated obsession with Nancy, fueled by his proximity to her while working on her property, combined with a belief that his quiet, respectful demeanor would shield him from suspicion. The path to resolution. To secure an arrest, investigators needed a direct link between Fuentes Flores and the crime scene. They launched a covert surveillance operation, tracking him to a local restaurant where he had lunch with his wife. When he departed, an undercover officer quickly retrieved the plastic Coca-Cola bottle he had used The forensic laboratory extracted his deoxyribonucleic acid from the bottle and compared it to the male profile found on the bloody pillow from Nancy's bedroom. It was a perfect match. Armed with this definitive evidence, Detectives Clinton Cole and Dave Agredano brought Fuentes Flores in for questioning. The interrogation, conducted in a quiet room at the Templeton substation, was a masterclass in interview technique. Initially, Fuentes Flores maintained his polite, cooperative facade, explaining his painting routine and denying any knowledge of Nancy's disappearance. But as the detectives systematically presented the evidence, showing him photographs of the property and revealing that they had his digital tracking data, his physical composure began to crumble. He fell into a chair, crying, and confessed that he had gone to the property. That night, he initially attempted to fabricate a story of an accident, claiming he had returned to retrieve a ladder and had accidentally struck Nancy with his truck, subsequently taking her inside to help her. But the detectives pressed further, pointing to the blood in the bedroom and the DNA on the pillow. Fuentes Flores finally broke, admitting that he had entered her home through the unlocked door with the sole intention of sexually assaulting her. When she resisted and attempted to call for help, he assaulted her, raped her, and ultimately smothered her with a pillow to prevent her from identifying him, the sacred soil. In a final, stunning moment of the interrogation, Fuentes Flores offered to lead the detectives to the location where he had left Nancy's body. The journey was a somber, silent drive eastward into the vast, desolate landscape of the Carrizo Plain, nearly an hour away from Paso Robles. The area was a sweeping expanse of dry grass and rugged terrain, a place where a body could remain hidden forever. As the search party walked through the dry brush, Fuentes Flores began to lose his orientation in the uniform landscape. But Detective Cole, scanning the ground, noticed a small, unnatural pile of rocks. Upon closer inspection, the grim reality was exposed. Nancy's skeletal remains lay scattered by wild animals, left out in the open wilderness without the dignity of a proper burial. Fuentes Flores fell to his knees, weeping, realizing the absolute finality of his actions. In January of 2022, rather than facing a highly publicized trial, Fuentes Flores entered a special legal agreement known as a slow plea. The prosecution presented the overwhelming evidence to the judge, who formally found him guilty of first-degree murder with the special circumstance of rape and burglary. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The persistence of justice. Both of these tragic narratives, though unfolding in different landscapes and under different circumstances, share a profound psychological commonality. They show us that the perpetrators of violent crimes are often individuals who believe they're the authors of their own destiny, possessing an arrogance that allows them to disregard the lives of others for their own personal gain or dark desires. Corey Richins believed that her status as a mother, an author, and a prominent Businesswomen would protect her from the suspicion of law enforcement. She believed that by writing a children's book about grief, she could manipulate the emotions of her community and escape the consequences of a cold, calculated poisoning. Carlo Fuentes Flores believed that his polite demeanor, his hardworking reputation, and the remote nature of Paradise Ranch would allow him to commit a brutal assault and return to his normal family life without a trace. But both individuals underestimated the relentless dedication of the investigative forces and the power of modern forensic science, whether through the toxicological analysis of a single blood sample or the digital mapping of a global positioning system geofence. The truth was systematically uncovered. Justice, in these cases, is not merely a legal verdict. It is the restoration of order to communities that were shattered by violence. It is the quiet reassurance to the families of Eric Richins and Nancy Woodrum that they're loved. Ones are not forgotten, and that the individuals responsible for their suffering will spend the remainder of their days behind the cold concrete walls of a penitentiary. As we look back on these cases, we are reminded of the profound resilience of the human spirit. We see it in the three young boys of Eric Richins, who are now growing up surrounded by the love of their extended family. We see in Amanda, Nancy's daughter, who continues her mother's passion for horses, riding through the same golden hills of Paso Robles, carrying on a legacy of faith, love, and light that no shadow can ever truly extinguish. The veneer of normalcy and the pathology of deception. In the study of criminal psychology, one of the most compelling areas of observation is the concept of the mask of normalcy. To the casual observer, the communities we inhabit appear orderly, bound by shared values, mutual respect, and the quiet routines of daily life. Yet, beneath this tranquil surface, individuals occasionally exist who carry a profound disconnect between their public persona and their private actions. As a criminal psychology analyst and narrative chronicler of investigative work, I have often observed that the most complex cases are not those born of sudden, chaotic impulses, but rather those that involve a slow, deliberate calculation masked by an outward appearance of warmth, success, or quiet diligence. This analysis examines two distinct criminal investigations that took place in different parts of the United States of America, although separated by geography, the natural landscape, and the specific dynamics of the communities in which they occurred. These cases share a common thread. They both involve perpetrators who believed they could exploit the trust of those around them, commit grave offenses, and escape detection through the maintenance of a carefully constructed facade. In Utah, we encounter the story of Corey Richins, a woman whose ambition, financial distress, and romantic desires led to a calculated plan to end her husband's life, followed by an audaciously public attempt to capitalize on her grief. In California, we examine the disappearance of Nancy Woodrum, a beloved business owner and grandmother whose life was tragically cut short by a local tradesman, Carlo Fuentes Flores, a man who hid a dark, obsessive double life behind a reputation for polite, hardworking professionalism. By reconstructing these investigations, we can explore not only the tactical successes of the law enforcement officers who solved them, but also the deeper psychological mechanisms at play. We will examine how greed, narcissism, and compartmentalization drive individuals to commit acts of extreme selfishness, and how the meticulous application of forensic science, modern technology, and human empathy ultimately brings the truth to light. Part 1. The Mountain Heights of Betrayal. The setting is Summit County, Utah, a region known for its majestic, snow-capped peaks, its affluent mountain communities, and a lifestyle centered around outdoor recreation, family values, and entrepreneurial ambition. In this environment, Eric Richins and his wife, Corey Richins, appear to have built the quintessential American success story. Eric was a 40-year-old stonemason who had built a highly successful business, C&E Masonry, valued in the million. He was an athletic, outdoorsy, and deeply devoted father to their 3 young sons who were 10, 9, and 6 years of age. Corey, younger than her husband, was an ambitious woman who had transitioned from a stay-at-home mother into a highly active real estate investor and home flipper under her brand, K. Richins Realty. To the public, the Richins family lived an enviable life of luxury, filled with vacations, community involvement, and business growth. Yet on the night of March 3rd, 2022, this picture-perfect existence collapsed in a matter of hours. At approximately 3 o'clock in the morning on March 4th, 2022, the silence of the mountain night was broken by a frantic call to 911. Corey Richins, speaking in a highly distressed voice, informed the emergency dispatcher that her husband was cold to the touch and not breathing. She was instructed by the dispatcher to begin cardiopulmonary resuscitation and to count out loud so that her efforts could be monitored. The rhythmic sounds of her counting 1, 2, 3, 4 echoed over the line as first responders rushed to the scene. When the paramedics, firefighters, and police officers arrived at the sprawling family residence, they found Eric Richins lying on his back on the floor of the master bedroom. He had no pulse, despite the immediate deployment of a cardiopulmonary resuscitation machine, which filled the room with a rhythmic, mechanical sound. It was quickly apparent that Eric was beyond saving. At 3:58 in the morning, he was officially declared dead. Furthermore, the responding medical personnel noted that Eric appeared to have been deceased for some time before the 911 call was placed, as his body had already begun to cool significantly. As the responding officers began their preliminary investigation, Corey offered an explanation for the evening's events. She stated that she and Eric had been celebrating a major financial success for her real estate business. Specifically, she had secured the contract to purchase a massive, unfinished luxury property known as the Midway Mansion, for nearly $3 million. To celebrate, she had prepared a mixed alcoholic beverage, a Moscow Mule, which they drank in their bedroom before going to sleep. Corey explained that one of her young sons had woken up experiencing a night terror, which prompted her to go to the child's bedroom to comfort him. She claimed she fell asleep in her son's bed and did not wake up until approximately 3 o'clock in the morning. Upon returning to her own bedroom, she said she reached out to touch her husband, realized he was cold and unresponsive, and immediately placed the emergency call. When questioned about Eric's health, Corey and her mother, Lisa Darden, who arrived shortly after the police, suggested several possibilities. They mentioned that Eric suffered from Lyme disease, which he had contracted during a hunting trip and received weekly allergy shots. Corey also noted that he occasionally consumed tetrahydrocannabinol gummies to help him sleep, though she was unsure if he had taken one that evening. Lisa Darden added that Eric had looked unusually pale and unwell the day before, mentioning that he had complained of chest pains. However, as the emergency medical technicians and deputies worked in the bedroom, they observed details that did not easily align with a sudden, natural cardiac event. The paramedics noticed an unusual amount of blood coming from Eric's mouth during the chest compressions. This observation led to an early hypothesis among the first responders that Eric might have suffered a sudden, catastrophic internal hemorrhage or a ruptured brain aneurysm. Given Eric's young age, athletic condition, and the unexpected nature of his death, the county coroner's office was legally required to conduct a forensic autopsy. This decision marked the beginning of a complex investigation that would take years to fully unfold, revealing a stark contrast between Corey's public expressions of grief and the financial reality of her life. To understand the psychology of this case, one must examine the origins of the relationship between Eric and Corey. They met while Corey was working as a cashier at a newly opened Home Depot in Park City, Utah, which offered excellent pay for local workers. Eric, who frequently visited the store to purchase supplies for his masonry business, was drawn to her, and acquaintances recalled an immediate chemistry between them. However, their backgrounds and values differed significantly. Eric grew up in Bountiful, Utah, working on his family's cattle ranch in Summit County. He was a devout member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, having served a 2-year mission in Mexico City, and he possessed a strong work ethic. His family valued stability, faith, and the outdoors. Corey, on the other hand, had grown up in a family that moved frequently due to her parents' work in construction. She had spent her youth cleaning the homes of wealthy residents in Park City and harbored a deep desire to achieve substantial wealth and status. When Corey became pregnant with their first child, the couple decided to marry. On the day of their backyard wedding, Eric's mother presented Corey with a prenuptial agreement. This agreement specified that Eric's stonemasonry business, sea and e-masonry, was solely his property, and that Corey would have no claim to its assets or revenue unless Eric were to pass away while they were still married. Corey was deeply upset by this requirement, but she ultimately signed the document to proceed with the marriage. This prenuptial agreement would later be viewed by investigators as a critical piece of the puzzle, establishing a strong financial motive. Over the next several years, the couple had 3 boys in quick succession. Eric was a dedicated father, coaching soccer and spending his free time with his sons. His business flourished, bringing in millions of dollars and providing the family with a highly comfortable lifestyle, complete with luxury travel and expensive dining. However, Corey was not content to remain a stay-at-home mother. In 2019, she launched K. Richens Realty, entering the highly competitive world of home flipping. Initially, her business appeared highly successful. She posted videos on social media celebrating her transactions and quickly expanded her operations to manage 15 different renovation projects simultaneously. But behind the scenes, her financial situation was deteriorating rapidly. Corey was utilizing hard money, loans which carry high interest rates and short repayment terms, to fund her acquisitions. In 2020, Eric discovered that Corey had secretly taken out a $250,000 line of credit against their family home, which was solely owned by Eric. This discovery caused a severe rift in the marriage. Eric, realizing that his wife had forged his signature to secure the loan, consulted a divorce attorney. Although the couple chose to undergo marriage counseling and did not separate, Eric took a decisive step to protect his assets and his children. He secretly established a new estate plan, creating a trust that named his sister, Katie, as the executor and trustee and designated his 3 young sons as the sole beneficiaries of his assets, including the family home. He intentionally excluded Corey from the trust, ensuring that she could not access his wealth in the event of his death. As investigators would later discover, Corey's financial desperation grew significantly throughout 2021 and into early 2022. She was heavily indebted, owing millions of dollars to numerous lenders, and she was desperate to secure the Midway Mansion, a high-risk property she believed would cement her status as a top-tier real estate developer. She desperately needed access to Eric's money to salvage her failing business and satisfy her creditors. Following Eric's death, Corey's immediate focus turned to his estate. The morning after a gathering at the home where friends and family had reminisced about Eric, Corey hired a locksmith to drill open the safe in the house, believing his will was stored inside. This action sparked a physical altercation with Eric's sister, Amy, who informed Corey that Eric had altered his estate plan and that the house and his assets belonged to the trust, not to her. Corey, in a rage, allegedly assaulted Amy, leading to her arrest and a subsequent conviction for assault. Despite this intense conflict, Corey quickly pivoted to a highly public campaign of self-preservation and promotion. asserting that she could find no suitable children's books to help her 3 sons process their grief. She claimed to have written a book titled, Are You With Me? The book, which she self-published, with the assistance of a ghostwriter, was dedicated to her amazing husband. It featured a child asking if his deceased father was present during key moments, such as scoring a goal in a soccer game, followed by the father's reassuring spirit confirming his presence. In March of 2023, 1 year after Eric's death, Corey embarked on a promotional tour, appearing on local radio and television programs such as Good Things Utah. During these interviews, she presented herself as a vulnerable, courageous widow seeking to help other families navigate the trauma of sudden loss. Her performance was highly polished, earning her widespread sympathy from viewers. However, the criminal investigation into Eric's death had never ceased. When the toxicological analysis of Eric's blood was completed, the results were shocking. The cause of death was determined to be a massive overdose of fentanyl. Specifically, the level of the drug in his system was 5 times the lethal limit. Furthermore, the toxicology report identified the presence of acetyl fentanyl, a highly potent chemical variant associated with illicitly manufactured street drugs rather than medical-grade pharmaceuticals. This finding immediately transformed the case into a homicide investigation. Eric Richins had no history of drug abuse, and his family and friends were adamant that he would never knowingly consume fentanyl. Investigators from the Summit County Sheriff's Office, led by Detective Jeff O'Driscoll, began a meticulous review of Corey's electronic devices and financial transactions. A breakthrough occurred